Hi guys, so my parents' generation remember exactly where they were when they received the news that John F. Kennedy had been shot. I think a similar moment for Generation X and Millennials will be, of course, the 11th of September attacks. I just want to share with you my memories of that day and the fears I had for the future. So back in 2001, I was working in a software company in Dublin. September the 11th was like any other day and I arrived at work as I usually did. I had two computers at my desk. One was for testing software and the other was for general use, like email, for example. There was a problem with some software and I needed some help with it, so I spent about an hour and a half on the phone to a colleague. We then went to lunch and returned to our desks. I continued to check the software and after a bit I turned to the general use computer. I noticed a lot of talk in the office, but it wasn't something that raised any suspicions. On my general use computer, I noticed a new email from a workmate. This guy would, like clockwork, send jokes, emails, funny pictures, videos, etc. via email to me and others in a group in the office. The email I saw was a picture of the Twin Towers on fire, taken from the BBC. My first reaction to the image was, what is the joke here? 99% of the communication I received from this guy was joke emails. I clicked on the link to the BBC website and it took ages for the page to load. Eventually there it was in front of me. From the BBC, the towers were on fire. I tried to look elsewhere for more information, but it was difficult because the speed of the internet had slowed to a snail's pace. This was unusual. As someone who works in a software company knows, a fast internet service is paramount. This was 20 years ago, so we had nothing like the current speeds of today. I stood up and looked around. There were a lot of people talking and nobody was working. People were standing in small groups huddled over a computer, looking and asking questions. What the hell is happening? What is going on? At the same time, we had a small meeting room where we had a video conference, video calls with other offices. So we had a TV there. It was switched on to Sky News, and while I don't remember all of the report, I remember one commentator suggesting that the US President, George W. Bush, would be likely asking for a red button to press. We stayed there fixated until about 5 p.m. when one by one people would leave the office to return home, more than likely to remain glued to their TVs for more information. Seeing the towers come down, I had a feeling in my stomach that things were going to change dramatically. I didn't know how, but I had a very bad feeling about it. I went home worrying about the future. Was there going to be a war over this? I wasn't as interested in politics as I am today, but I feared about the response. Who was responsible? What did they want? How would Bush deal with it? There was a feeling that it would be unlike Bill Clinton, who previously would fire cruise missiles at some village or town in the Middle East. This was a Republican president who had been elected by evangelical right-wing Christians. The response would be much tougher. In the days following the attack, there was an illogical level of fear. People in villages and towns around the world believed they would be next. We find such notions absurd today, but even though it was stupid at the time, it demonstrated the level of fear, and then we saw the response. War and a complete change to our way of life. Bin Laden had achieved his goals. He wanted us to be afraid, and we were. He wanted us to end our own liberties, and we did. I remember boarding a plane some months after, thinking as I went through the new security checks, will we ever go back to the way things used to be? I would love for you to share your experiences of the 11th of September 2001 in the comments section. Thanks a lot.